Okay, dear students, now let us start the second lecture in this semester. This lecture is a continuation to the lecture which I started, I think, about 2 weeks ago. And I hope that that lecture, that video was useful to you because it is, you can easily, it is accessible to you. You can reach it whenever you want to see the lecture or remember things, or instead of using the book or using the book, and this video helps. Now, as I said in that video, is that now this chapter, which is chapter 7, now it deals with the grammar. Now last time we, you remember that in the last semester we dealt with morphology, and morphology deals with words, structure of words. Here we are going to deal with the structure of sentences, structure of a sentence, or the structure of the sentence in English. Right, now in this chapter, just a quick revision to what I said last time, is that English grammar was affected by Latin grammar. Not only, of course, English grammar, which is affected by Latin grammar, but also other languages. And it is because, why is English affected or influenced by? What is the reason beyond this influence or effect of English, or Latin grammar on English grammar? It is because, at a time, 300 years ago, perhaps more, Latin was a model language, a model, and in the sense that if you want to be understood, if you want your voice to reach remote places or places which are far away from you, if you want your voice to reach, if you want to be known, I would say, if you want to know, not all over the world, but where Latin is used. Because of this, now because Latin is a model language, which is not only a model, but I would say that it is an international language, global language, because it is the language of culture, the language of science, the language of literature, the language of other fields of knowledge. So if you want to be known, if your voice, if what you know, you want to pass it over, then you have to write in Latin. I would say that the situation of Latin 300 years ago, perhaps more, is just like the situation of English nowadays. Nowadays, if you want to be known, if you want to be understood, if you have an idea and you want to pass over this idea to very remote places, to other places where you cannot reach, then you resort to English. You write in English so that you can, or your ideas, or understand how people, people in other countries, you want to communicate with them in your branch of knowledge, or in a topic you feel that you are interested in, and they are interested also in that topic. So how can you communicate? Definitely via language. You are going to know other people via what? English. Because English, definitely, because English is has become a lingua franca. Right. Now, let me leave this point and then I move to another point, and that is now because Latin is an international language, language of culture, language of science, its grammar is has to be followed by other languages, which they want to be like, they want their language to be like Latin. So what do? They try to move, they try to take what is in Latin grammar and then they impose it on what their languages. One of these languages is English, where Latin imposed what on English, and we are going to see. Now, the point I'd like to start with is that you see there are, categories in say what in English, and there are categories in what in Latin. Parts of a speech are called categories. Now, the point is, now, as here what Yule says, he says that, for example, now it's not necessarily that what is in Latin grammar can be exactly the same in English grammar. One of these, you see, what makes this not possible is that English is not an inflectional language like Latin language or like Latin. Latin is an inflectional language. So what does he say here? You see, as you remember last time, what I said in the lecture of last week, that now when we come to discuss what number and person, and these are related to pronouns, when we want to discuss these categories, yeah, and these of course are taken from Latin. Now when we want to discuss them in English, in Latin, we discuss them through verb form. But in English, it is not possible. Why? Because English is not an inflectional language like what? Like Latin. So now we can use, what I want to say, he says here, traditional analysis. Now, what does this mean? Traditional analysis. Now, what does that mean, traditional analysis? It means that it's not necessarily that, if you want to discuss the verb form in Latin, maybe it is not useful or it cannot be adopted to discuss the verb forms in English. Well, here is an example. Take, for example, now what he says here. Look here, it's in the book, but never mind, I'm clarifying it. First person singular. Now, in English, we say I love, and the verb love, this is in English. This is English. Now, in Latin, what do they say? They say amor. This is Latin. Okay? Now, then he says second person. Second person. Of course, he does a second person, he says singular. He says here, you love. In Latin, A-M-A-S. Let me take a third. You see how the first person, this is second person, then we have third person, singular. She loves Ahmad. Now, here, there is a point here, a very interesting point. What is it? Of course, there is a continuation. I don't want to continue with this, but I mean, this can help to understand traditional analysis. Now, look here, first person singular. I is between parentheses. This means that this can be read like this: I love or love. This can be read, second person singular, can be read you love or love. Third person singular, she loves or she loves. Okay, let me continue with now first person plural. Okay, now back here, first person plural. What does he say? What is the first person plural? I, we. Okay, love. And here we say amamus, Latin, A-M-A-M-A-T-S. A-M-A-M-U-S. Right. Second person plural. Second person plural. See here singular, here plural. We say you love, and we say amatis. Third person plural, third person plural. What is it? They love, and he says say amanat, A-M-A-N-A-N-T. Right. Now, what is the idea beyond this? I mean, what do we? I mean, what is this used to clarify or to discuss? What is this used to clarify or to discuss? Now, the point discussed here is that you see here first person singular I. You can read it as I love or love. In Latin, you say amo. Right. Second person singular. In English, you can say love also. You love or love. And amo, it's going to be amas. Third person singular. She loves amat or loves. First person plural, we love or love, and then animus. Is that animus? Amamus, sorry, amamus. Now what about second person plural? Say you love or love, and then amatus. Now third person plural, we say they love or amanat. or love. Now, what is the point here? The point is this. What is it? Now, as you can see here, that now here with in English we say the pronoun plus the verb. The pronoun plus the verb. This is the pronoun plus the verb. Here, no, just the verb, and there is no pronoun here, like in English. What does that mean? This means that the verb form here indicates, what? Indicates the person, yani first person. And also it indicates number, whether it is plural or singular. This is in Arabic. I say مثلا, for example, يحب أو أحب. Sorry. Say أحب. هذه الهمزة حب يحب أحب هذه الهمزة for first person and what? And singular. It is just like Latin. In English, you cannot say just the verb, because if you say just the verb, you see the verb keeps the same form, love. Only here it is changed. Here it is the same. So you cannot depend on the verb form in English to decide the person and number. Why? Because English is not an inflectional language. English does not change, the verb in English does not change its form, and this change in the form indicates the change in the person and in the number. So now, you cannot depend on the verb in English as in Latin or as in Arabic to indicate the person and number. Then what? You have to mention the person, the pronoun here. And the pronoun here, this is first person singular. Here it is you, second person, he says singular. For clarification. Here she, only with she there is an inflection here, and that is the S. That is what? That is the S. Okay? But what about the other forms? I mean, what about first person plural, second person plural, third person plural? The verb keeps the same form, except here. So we cannot depend on, in English, we cannot depend on the verb form to indicate person and what? And number, only in the third person. That is not dependable. I mean, that is not, yes, dependable or practical. This is not a practical. Okay? So what we can say that we can discuss, we can show the verb, the person and number in Latin and in Arabic through the verb form. But in English, that is not helpful. That cannot be, that's not helpful. That does not help. Why? That does not show you exactly. No. Why? Because the verb form in English keeps the same form except here. This is what he means by traditional analysis. I hope it is clear. Now let's move to something else. Now what is it? What I want to, the point that I want to move to is this. Now I'm going to rub it out. Let's go to something else. What is it? It is called prescriptive approach. prescriptive approach and descriptive approach. These two approaches, I'm going to discuss them together. Prescriptive approach and versus descriptive approach. Versus what? Descriptive approach. Now, what does it mean, prescriptive approach and descriptive approach? I think I discussed or I clarified this in the lecture last week. I said that when you go to a doctor because you are sick, you are suffering from something wrong inside you, you go to a doctor, the doctor examines you, and then according to his examination, he is going to diagnose the defect or what is wrong with you, and then he's going to write what we call medicines to you. He's going to write on a slip of paper a number of medicines. These medicines, you have to take them in order to recover, in order to restore your health. Now, these medicines, which the doctor prescribed to you, are called prescription. Now, what does it mean, prescription? It means you should, or you must use, if you want to recover, if you want to restore your health, you have to take these medicines, or else you are not going to recover. Or if you want to recover, if you want to recover rapidly, in order not to make that wrong inside you, perhaps there is something wrong in your stomach, in your kidney, in your blood, any organ inside your body you are suffering from. If you want to recover, you want to get your health quickly, rapidly, you go to a doctor, and then by means of these medicines, you are going to restore your health. This notion, this idea of what the doctor prescribes to you is borrowed in grammar, is used in a grammar. In what sense it is used? It is used in the sense that from Latin, also see the effect of Latin on English grammar. Latin has certain rules, and these rules are imposed. It seems that they are even preferred by grammarians. They prefer these rules. Why? Because they are used in Latin grammar, and because Latin grammar is a model, then they have to take from this model. But this is not right, of course. At the time it was right, but now it is not right according to linguistics. A linguist does not tackle it from this point of view. No, he says something else, as we will see in a minute. Now, what is the point? For example, so in the same way that a doctor prescribed medicine to you, English also, Latin has a prescribed rules to, and of course, these rules were taken by other languages such as English, and then they have to be followed, okay, like medicines, in order for that language to be like Latin, right? So these rules, one of these rules, in Latin, for example, they say that you must not split, you must not split an infinitive. Over here, when I say an infinitive, I mean two infinitive, because we have two types of infinitive in English, that they are to infinitive, yani to plus infinitive, and there is bare infinitive without to. Right. Now, what does that? This is second prescription. This is first rule. Second rule: do not end. You must not. You must not end a sentence. And you must not end a sentence with a preposition. You must not end a sentence with a preposition. See, these two rules, just like the medicines, so for the medicine, just like medicines that the doctor write, these are rules set by or devised, let me say devised, by grammarian. So now here, this is what a grammarian prescribes, and in the case of a patient, it is what a doctor prescribes. So see the comparison, the analogy between a doctor, medical doctor, and a grammarian. Both of them prescribe, both of them impose. Let's see, you must not split an infinitive. This is where, this is in Latin. And English, and in English you have to do the same, so that that grammar, I mean English to be like like Latin grammar, because Latin grammar, as we said, it is a model, and you have to follow this model. Okay, right. Now, what is, for example, like what? You must not split an infinitive. George Yule uses, he uses this term, Captain Cook's infinitive. Captain Cook infinitive. Cook's. Captain Cook's infinitive. Captain Cook's infinitive, it is an episode, يعني مسلسل, a serial with a number of episodes, and in this there is a teacher and there is the captain. The teacher expected the captain to say, for example, about an infinitive, without splitting it, because that teacher is affected by what? By Latin grammar. But let's see whether Captain Cook listened to this rule imposed by, followed the instruction of his teacher, who is Latin grammar oriented. This is the point. Let us see. What does he say? He says that this is an Captain Cook's teacher might have expected him to say like this: to go boldly, بشجاعة ببسالة, to go boldly. Or he expected Cook to say not only this, but or boldly to go, or boldly to go. Captain Cook's, the teacher of Captain Cook's, he expected Captain Cook's to say, his teacher, Captain Cook's teacher, expected Captain Cook to say this infinitive like this, either to go boldly or boldly to go. In any case, he doesn't want, he expected Captain Cook to say this infinitive in any of these forms, either to go boldly or boldly to go. The most important thing here is that not to what? Not to split an infinitive. It means not to put boldly between to and go. This was expected by whom? By the teacher or Captain Cook's teacher. But Captain Cook didn't say this like didn't say it like this. No, he split it between what? Between to and go. He put boldly between this. He said to boldly go. To boldly go. To boldly go. Okay? He did it. This has made Captain Cook's teacher astonished. He was astonished. Why? Because he didn't expect Captain Cook to split the infinitive according to Latin grammar, but he didn't listen to Latin grammar. He followed English grammar. In English grammar, it is possible, it is correct to split between the infinitive. It means you can insert a word, say an adverb, between to, as a preposition of course, and go. It is possible, but it's not possible in Latin grammar. So what does he say here? He says that if it is a typical feature of the use of English that speakers, if it is a typical feature of the use of English that speakers and writers regularly produce forms such as to boldly go, to solemnly what? Swear, to never ever get back, then we may simply wish to note that there are structures in English that differ from those found in Latin, rather than think of the English form as bad because they don't follow a rule of Latin grammar. So now this is this view of instead of describing English grammar as bad grammar, there is another or a modern view, and that is what it is. It is possible to, or in English, writers and speaker can, or what? They split between split between an infinitive, which is not possible what in Latin grammar. So in that case, it is not correct to describe English grammar as bad because it split between. No. A modern view is to say that in English it is possible to split between an infinitive, but in Latin it is not. So this is the best answer, this is the best exit or outlet to this difference between English grammar and Latin grammar. Okay, right. Now, what about the second rule? The second rule, the second prescription. What is the second prescription? The second prescription says that do not end a sentence with a preposition. In Latin, it is not possible, it is not correct to end a sentence with a preposition. Let's see here. He says here that following these types of rules, traditional teachers would correct sentences, traditional teachers would correct sentences like, who did you go with? A sentence like this Who did you go with? Who did you go with? Traditional teachers would correct this sentence. Instead of saying, who did you go? Why do they correct it? Because according to Latin grammar, because they are traditional teachers. Now they are affected by traditional grammar, Latin grammar. And perhaps Latin grammar took this from Greek grammar, which is older than, earlier than what? Latin grammar. So, who did you go with? According to traditional teachers, this is wrong. What should they say? It has to be corrected to what? As he says here, with whom did you go? With whom? Instead of who did, you say with whom. Did you go? Why? With whom did you? In English, yeah, we say this, but it is also possible we say, who did you go? When I say, for example, I see a book in your hand, or as I now, I'm holding a book. I say, who is it by? This book, who is it by? Who is it by? See preposition by at the end. Correct. Who is it by? من المؤلف. Who is it by? Who is it by? Who is it by? And who is the writer? Who is the writer of this what? Of this book. So now, these such prescriptions, such rules like this and this are like prescriptions, are like medicines prescribed by what? By doctors, medical doctors. Now, what is the justification? I mean, how do we justify that it is not bad to end a sentence with a preposition in English? The justification of this is that we say, and this is of course, it is a good justification, is that in English grammar, it is possible, it is correct to end a sentence with a preposition, but the same situation, I mean, ending a sentence with a preposition is not correct, is not possible in Latin grammar. So it's not necessarily that you judge English grammar by Latin grammar. Neither you judge Latin grammar by by English grammar. Or we judge, for example, English grammar by Arabic grammar. No, each language has its own what? Grammar. Right. Now, so opposite of this justification or this description that in English it is possible to end a sentence with a preposition, but in Latin it is not. This is called a descriptive approach. Descriptive. What does it mean, descriptive? Descriptive means wasfi. I mean, I describe what people say. Not I describe, not what should people say. I do not describe, I say that English should be like this. No, it's not like this. This is in Latin, in traditional grammar, but in modern grammar, or let me say in linguistics, a linguist does not say that English should be like Latin, and it's a no. He says that he describes what people say or what people write. Now, he says that in English, it is possible to split an infinitive. And in English, it is possible to end a sentence with a preposition, and there is no harm in it. There's no harm in it. And that's not mistaken. It's not wrong. But this is, this is possible here. This is correct here. This is incorrect here. It doesn't mean, sorry, that you should, because it should. English should be like Latin. This is not correct, because each language has its own grammar, has its own, in the same way that has its own nature. Each language has its own nature. Also, each language has its own what? Grammar. And you cannot take from certain things or rules from one another. Grammar, say from Latin grammar or Greek grammar or French grammar or Italian, and then you impose it. But no, it's not like this. But you find similarities between grammars here. English grammar might be similar even to Arabic grammar. Yeah, we say this, but it doesn't mean that what we impose on languages or Latin, you take from certain things or words from one grammar that belongs to a certain language, then you impose it on English or any other language. This is not possible. So when you say that it is possible in English, it is possible to split an infinitive, then this is, we call it a descriptive approach rather than prescriptive approach. It means you are describing what people say. You are not imposing on people to say this or to say what that. Right. Now, I hope I have been clear. Hopefully, of course. Now, what else? What else? Let's move to something else. What is it? Now, STRUCTUR, structural analysis. Now, what does it mean, structural analysis? If you want to translate it, التحليل البنائي أو التركيبي, to what? To what? To the sentence. Right. Now, what does it mean? What does it mean, this? He says that just now I was talking about what we call descriptive approach. المنهج الوصفي. One of the forms of descriptive analysis or descriptive approach, one of the aspects, شكل of one of the forms of descriptive approach, المنهج الوصفي, is this. What is this? Structural analysis. Now, what does it mean, structural analysis? Structural analysis, as he says here, he says one type of descriptive approach is called structural analysis. And its main concern is to investigate the distribution of forms in a language. Distribution of forms in a language. What does that mean? He says the method of distribution of forms in a language involves using test frame. What does it mean, test frame or test frames? Test frames means a sentence with a slot, or with a slot. as he says here, which can be sentences with empty slots. يعني empty slots. هو slots معناتها فراغ. Empty slot slots means يعني slot means blank. So with empty slots here means يعني it means positions or places. Well, slots, places or positions. Empty slots يعني places which are not filled in in a sentence. Like what? He says, take for example, there makes a lot of noise. Second, I heard a what? Yesterday. Right. So now here, we call it what? Test frames. These are each one of these. They are called. Each one of these is called a test frame. Both of them are called test frames. And sure, what does it mean, test frames? Test frames means sentences. This is a sentence, and this sentence has a slot, an empty slot in it. So now, if you want to fill this slot, to fill it with a word, you do not leave it like this. Now, definitely, you are not going to fill it with a word just like that. No, the selection of a word is determined by whether that gives you a grammatical sentence or not. Okay? So, for example, now suppose I would say here, he says, for example, there makes a lot of noise. I can say dog, child, bird, but I cannot say, for example, Mike or Ali. The Ali makes. This is not possible. Okay. So now there are certain things that determine what words are used here. We can't say the dog makes a lot of noise, the child makes a lot of noise, the bird makes a lot of noise. Okay. So what about the second one? I heard a. Can we say I heard a dog? I heard a. Now what do we put here? Right. I cannot say Kathy also here. And you cannot use a proper noun here, but you can use, this is a common noun, dog, child, bird, you can use. Right. Now, what is the point here? I mean, what is, I heard a. I heard what? A song, for example. Song. I heard a song yesterday. Can I say I heard it or Kathy? Let's see what is his comment on this. He says, what does he say? There are a lot of forms. Now, yeah, okay, I'll explain this. But let me just read to you. There are a lot of forms that can fit into these slots to produce a good grammatical sentence of English. Car. The car makes a lot of noise. The child makes a lot of noise. The donkey, the dog, the radio, Okay. As a result, we can propose that because all these forms fit in the same test frame, they are likely to be examples of the same grammatical category traditionally described as noun. What is the point? The point is, now, because dog, you can't say the dog, you can't say the child, you can't say the bird, okay? So dog, child, bird are, we say that because they all fit in this, they can fit in this slot, we can say they are of the same category, يعني نفس الفصيلة. So yeah, earlier we say a noun is a word that refers to a person, to a thing, to. Here, no. Here, how do you describe what is structural analysis? Where I'm describing, which is under what we call descriptive approach. So I can say that instead of saying that, I go to here. So what is the definition of a noun? The noun is a word that indicates the name of a person, a dog, anything, a tree, abstract things, concrete things. It's not like this. Another way of saying that, or we say that because we can say the dog, we can say the child, we can't say the bird, then we can say that these nouns or these words are of the same category. They are of the same. They are all nouns. Okay. So this is right. Earlier هو يقول grammatical, the same grammatical category. Now he is using the word category. يقول earlier بالtraditional grammar it's called what? A noun. Okay, right. Now let's move to the second one. I hope this is clear. Now, however, there are many forms that do not fit those test frames. Examples would be Kathy, someone, the dog, a car, and any others. So that is, we wouldn't say the Kathy or the dog, we can't say the or the dog. The dog. For these forms, we require different test frames. Right. Now, what is the point here? He says here that you cannot put another word like Kathy, like Mike, like Ali, like the dog. I say the dog. No, this is not possible. Then what does he says that in order to use these, the dog, Kathy, etc., then you need a different test frame. Not إذا هذا one test frame. هذا إطار الفحص واحد. هذا واحد. One type. But if I want to insert words like Mike, like instead of saying the dog, I want to say the dog, all of it, the dog. The dog makes, okay. No, I mean, I put not this, but I used a word with the dog. I said the dog. That's not possible. I need a different word. Test frame. What is this test frame? Different test frame. This is, if I say makes a lot of noise. Here I can say, for example, the radio. Here I cannot use the radio. Here I can say the boy, okay. I heard another test frame. I heard yesterday. I heard the news, for example, yesterday. Now, what is Now, the difference is between what? Between this test frame and this. Let's see what he's saying. He says that among other forms that comfortably, easily fit these test frames are, you can say, it makes, okay? There is no there here. You are using the radio. But you cannot use the radio here again and there is there. No, that's not possible. Now we are going to know why it is not possible. He says that among other forms that comfortably fit these test frames are it, the big dog. شوف لاحظ the big dog. I say the big dog. I can say the big dog makes a lot of noise. Which is correct. What else? An old car. Annie DeFranco. The professor with the Scottish accent. See this? See how many? The professor of the British accent, a Scottish accent, and many other examples of the same grammatical category, traditionally described as noun phrase. So now, what is the point? What is the point? The point is, this is a very important point, observing that it fits in the second, and here it says it does not fit here. Observing that it fits in the second set of test frames and not in the first one. Yani here I cannot say there it makes a lot of noise. Allows us to improve on tahseen, prove on the older Latin influenced analysis of pronouns in English. In older analysis, pronouns were described as words. In older analysis, pronouns were described as words used in place of a noun. Yes, we said it. Pronouns are words which are used in place of a noun. We can now see هسه الآن هذا noun pronouns. What is it? We can now see that it is more accurate to say أكثر دقة to say that pronouns are used not in a place of nouns but in a place of شنو? Noun phrases. يعني إذا هسه what is new إنه مو noun pronoun is used instead of a noun هذا earlier. No, the new هذا test frame has shown to us that, or this practice هذا التدريب shows us that a pronoun is not used instead of a noun. يعني شنو what is it is not used of? يعني it is not only used instead of one word. لا, a pronoun can be used instead of a noun phrase. وهذا noun phrase ممكن maybe it has 3 words or 4 words, as in the case, for example, the professor with the Scottish accent. Instead of the professor with the British accent, I can say he. I can say she. So now she has taken the place not of a noun, but of a noun phrase. So now the point is what? Is that a pronoun, earlier it is used, يعني the definition, traditional definition of a pronoun is that it is used instead of a noun. But now, no, it has to be improved on. يتحسن, it means. And هذا definition, it is improved on. يتحسن, or it gets better. That a pronoun is not used instead of a noun, يعني, no, but it can be used instead of what? A noun phrase. to be, and it is safer to say this. It is safer. It is more correct, because sometimes, why do you say this? Sometimes you see that, as I said, as in the case, for example, of that British, that professor with the Scottish accent. Now here, this is a phrase. How I can replace this phrase, which is of, I think, 5 words, one, two, no, more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. 6 words was it is called a phrase, noun phrase. It can be replaced by the pronoun he. Right. So now, the point with which I mean that I want to make it clear, and I hope that it has been clarified, or it has become explicit, that you can use what a pronoun, not instead of a noun, but instead of a pronoun, instead of a noun phrase. You can use a pronoun not instead of a noun, but instead of a noun phrase, which means that, what does it mean, a noun phrase? It means it more than one word, 6 words here. All this we call it what? A phrase. Now this point now leads us to move a step forward to something else. What is this? Constituent analysis. So from structural analysis to constituent analysis. Constituent. What does it mean? Constituent, constituent, constituent analysis. Here it is structural analysis. Now, is there any difference between this? Yes, there is a difference. Right, now what's the difference? Constituent analysis, it means the word constituent has come from the word constitute. It means make, form. Okay, right. Now how? Let us, let's take this. And this is a sentence. An old man brought or bought. An old man brought a shotgun to the wedding. An old man brought a shotgun to the wedding. An old man brought a shotgun means a gun, a long gun. A long gun. It is called a shotgun. This is used in hunting birds and animals. Perhaps with a long rifle, a rifle with a long barrel, sabatana, barrel. Right. Now, what is this? This is a sentence. An old man, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now here, take for example this, an old man. An old man, this is a phrase. Just now I said that pronoun can replace a person. So instead of an old man, I can say what? I can say he. He brought a shotgun to the wedding. I hear to it. This has shows that he has replaced a noun phrase. It replaces what? A noun phrase, not a noun. Okay, this is when we in structural analysis. What about constituent analysis? Constituent, it means that constitutes. No, here, I mean, I want you to understand this. The point of constituent analysis is that we are not analyzing, we are not tackling, we are not talking about the sentence in terms of its words of which it is made, يعني how many words. لا. We are talking about something larger than a word, a phrase, عبارة, a phrase. And this phrase, definitely, a phrase, it can be one word, but it can be, of course, it can be more than one word. Just now we have said that British accent, that professor with a Scottish accent. So how many words here? If we consider all these words as one constituent, then what do we call that constituent? This is the point which is what we mean here. Now we are going to analyze the sentence not in terms of its word, but in terms of its constituent, which are larger than what and than a word. Well, this it depends, of course. That phrase, whether it is noun phrase. See, noun phrase, it means what is noun phrase? It means the noun is the main word. Verb phrase means the verb, which is an adjectival phrase, means adjective, which is it is the key word or the main word. Right. Okay. Right. Now, what else? He says something here. Now, suppose if we want to put these words like this, I say, an old man, an old man brought together short, short sorry for this delay. Now, suppose, let me repeat, go back to the point. Suppose what? I mean, I analyze, sorry, sorry for this delay. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry for this. Now, let me continue. He says that, can we, I mean, is it appropriate to put the words together as follows? I say, an old man brought, and brought a, then shotgun, two, and then to the. Is that possible? Is it possible to do this? I mean, is it appropriate? we say, where we analyze the sentence like, I mean, we put these words, and old, together, man brought together, brought a, showed, brought a, together, shotgun two, together, to the, together. Is that appropriate? Let's see whether this is appropriate or not. Of course it is not appropriate. Of course it is not. Why isn't? Why it is not, or why isn't it appropriate? Why is this not appropriate? This what way of combining or putting words together? We don't normally think of these combinations as phrases. So now, does that make a phrase? Let's see what phrases in it. We are more likely to say that the phrases like constituent here are combination of the following types. Now, if I want this, if I want to give it a name as a phrase, now what name do I give it? An old. Is this a noun phrase? It's an adjective phrase. Man brought. What is, if I want to give it a name? Now, what name do I give it? What do I call it? Right. So what does he say here? He says that, very important point, we don't normally think of these combinations as phrases in English. We are more likely to say that the phrases like constituent here, that the phrase like constituent here are combination of the following types. What is this type? Right. This means that in English we have, we have phrases, and these phrases are what? Are, as he says here, these phrases are known in English. They are known in English. He says, so now the point is that here we are making what? Constituent or phrases. Now these phrases are given a name, hold names. Now what do we call this a phrase? Here, for example, is it appropriate if I put this? Of course not, because if in English we have a number of phrases which are known, as I said just now, by the main word in that phrase. When the main word is a preposition, that we call it prepositional phrase. So now here I want you to understand that the point of constituent is understood as phrases. And these phrases are called or named after the main word there. If the main word is a noun, we call it noun phrase. If the main word is a verb, it is a verb phrase. If the main verb and the main word is an adjective, we say adjective phrase. So on. Okay, right. Now, so then, what is the? How are we going to? How are we going to show these constituent? And we can replace them easily. We can recognize them easily. We can replace them also easily. We know them, we recognize them, we substitute them. If I want to substitute what? any of these phrases, I can substitute it with a similar phrase. So in the same way, see here, earlier we said that now I can use, for example, it here, I can use dog here, the dog, I can use, they are, because they fit in the same slot, I can, well, I would say that they are nouns or noun phrases. Okay? Here, no, we can analyze the sentence not all as words, but as constituent or as phrases. And these phrases are named after the main word in that phrase. So now, let us see here. Now, if we use, what do we use here? Here he says the analysis of constituent structure, the constituent structure of the sentence. When we say constituent structure, phrases, yani larger than words, can be represented in a diagram. So I make it as diagram. مخطط. زين. هسه what is this? هذا المخطط شنو؟ here like this. هذا one. Then here. Okay, then, right, an old man. What else? Brought a shotgun. Here, this is here, and this is here. Then what is here? To the wedding. So now, an old man, constituent, brought a shotgun, another constituent, to the wedding, another constituent. Now, here I would say, now he's coming to this. He's coming to this. Let us not hurry. Now, what is the point? Now, see here, I have what? These, an old man had a diagram. This is a diagram of the whole sentence. An old man, these three words together, they make a phrase. These three words together, they make a phrase. These three words together, they make a phrase. By the way, now here, just occurred to me just now that now we are talking under the property, the main property of human language. That is what? That is reflexivity. Here we are talking about language. I am using language to talk about language, to describe language. So we are under what? Under this, or we are dealing, here we are, I mean, what I am saying, more than 1 hour ago, up until this moment, I am under what? This title or this main property called what? Reflexivity. Now, another way, now if I want to replace, this is another point, replacement. I mean, if I want to replace an old man by a word, brought a shotgun by a word, to the wedding by a word, by also another phrase. So what is it going to be? What is it going to be? He says that an old man, I can say the women. The women. I can say what? The women. Let me move this. The women. Instead of the women, I can, as he says here, Gwen. Gwen or Gwen. Right. Or I. So see, an old man can be replaced by the woman. Is it correct? Yes, correct. It can be replaced by Gwen. Is it correct? Yes. It can be replaced by I. Correct? Yes, of course it is correct. And any one of these is called a noun phrase. Right. Now let us, what about here? Brought. Now what about brought? What can we say here? Brought. Kept. Kept. Brought, kept, took. So now they are here because now an old man, the woman, when I say the woman brought a shotgun. The woman kept what? Let's see. Instead of a short gun, we can use, as he says, large, a large snake. So here, kept, brought, kept. Okay. Instead of shotgun, I can say large snake. So shotgun is a noun. Large snake is also a noun, but here it is one word, here it is two words. Does that fit? Yes, it fits. Yes, it fits. And instead of saying a snake, it's correct. Say large snake, not a snake, but a large snake. You are going. It's not a small; it's a large one. So now, what is the noun here? The noun is a snake. What about this? Now, all this, a large snake, is like a shotgun. It is a noun phrase. Why? Because it can take its place. We can say an old man brought a large snake. And the women kept a large snake. Correct. So now, here we are dealing with the constituent, which are larger than what? Than words. Right. Now, and so on. Right. Instead of large snake, I can put, for example, Kingston. Gwen took Kingston. Correct or not? Yes, of course, it's correct. One word. Here are three words, we have one word. Kingston is a proper noun, of course. Now, what about here? To the wedding. What about this? To the wedding. To the wedding. Suppose, for example, I have this. Gwen took Kingston to the wedding. Correct or not correct? So of course it is correct. Gwen took Kingston with hair. With hair. Correct or not? Yes, of course it is correct. So here we see here we are replacing what? We are using constituent instead of constituent, but that constituent has to be of the category, or it has to be of the same category. It's the same category or the same name. And we have in English certain categories, phrases, constituent, and these constituents have main word, and after which they are named. So if we have a noun phrase, I replace it by a noun phrase. Well, that noun phrase can be more than one word or can be one word. Okay, I have verb phrase. Right, a verb phrase. Here, had a verb phrase. Okay, now another noun phrase. This is another noun. Here we have what? We have to the wedding. To the wedding is a prepositional phrase. To the wedding. Okay, I replace to the wedding by with hair. Is this a prepositional phrase? Yes, it is a prepositional phrase. It starts with a preposition. Now this is what? This is, of course, even in Arabic we have the preposition has to be followed by a noun. So it is a prepositional phrase. This is a prepositional phrase. Right. Let's move to something else. What is it? Now, instead of using this technique or this way, we are going to use, brackets. Brackets. How? Labeled and bracketed sentences. Labeled. By the way, this is labeled, how the American, in British English it is double L. Labeled and bracketed. What? Sentences. Label, it is given a label, a name. On the bracketed, they are between the brackets. Now what does, let's see. The dog loved the girl. The dog loved the girl. Right. So now, first of all, we have this and this. Okay. And then we have this and this. Then we have this. What does this mean? This means that let me explain to you. The dog. Okay. The other. Okay. Other. The. Okay. And then dog, and then what? And then the dog. But I do not put it, yeah, okay, I put it here. What does this mean? This means that we have, first of all, the between parentheses, bracketed, مستطيلة. Yeah. And then dog. So we have these two brackets on the left hand and the right, two brackets on the left and the right. And then we have this. This encloses to marks of يفصل that this is what? This is a phrase. Okay? Right. Now let's see the dog loved what? The girl. This is then we have what? We have the dog, we have this, and for love the dog we have this. Then for the whole sentence we have this. So this is also, he says, labeled and bracketed Watson. Here, this sentence is bracketed. Now, what about the labels? What about the labels? يعني العناوين أو الأسماء هنا شنو؟ هذه نسميها article. article article. So هذا names, هذا labels. زين. This is an noun. So أنا هذا bracketed وبعدين هذا names, labels. Now, what else? We have MP, يعني هسه هذا N وهذا article, all of this هذا noun phrase. زين. What else? عندنا V, verb. Verb phrase. زين. Verb phrase شنو؟ هذا كله love the girl, noun phrase. VP, verb phrase. But Chomsky sentences this divided into noun phrase or verb phrase. بعدين after the noun phrase or verb phrase comes the things which are smaller than. Right. What else? بعدين الS. Then these abbreviations, هذه المختصرات, abbreviations, okay? طبعا هذا we do not call them acronyms, you remember, because the acronyms here more than one word, يعني 2 words and more. هذا مو acronyms here. Unless لكن مثلا بالnoun phrase ممكن أقول إنه عندي 2 words هنا. بالverb phrase ممكن, yes, but not in the case of article or verb. لا, لأنه 1 word هذا. Then we have seen that هذا bracketed, هسه احنا هذا labels, يعني هذا article, هذا dog, هذا what is noun, وهذه all of this noun phrase. بعدين we have love verb, then love the girl, هذا verb phrase. بعدين all of this هذا we call it شنو? We call it sentence. زين. إذن what is the point? شوف لاحظ, as I said just now, إنه all هذا from here هذا all of this I call it what? Sentence. هذا as he says here هذا سميه what? Noun phrase. What about this? أسميها verb phrase. Then a sentence consists of noun phrase and verb phrase. Okay. Or the constituent of a sentence are what? Noun phrases and what? Verb phrases. طبعا هذه يسمونها hierarchical شاقولي يعني مثل tree up down. شوف from up down hierarchical organization. الترتيب الشاقولي الترتيب العمودي للسنتنس يعني how هذا the article وهنايا article وهذا noun all of this noun phrase. زين here what هذا love verb هذا what هذا article هذا what هذا noun هذا what is this هذا noun phrase okay هذا noun phrase وهذا what verb all of this هذا أسميها what verb phrase. زين let me راح أخذ an example in English in Arabic and in English, and let's see how these things work in Arabic. And also I take another example in English, and I mean let's have examples from Arabic and from English. We compare between the two. أخذ سافر علي إلى بغداد. زين هسه هنا سافر هذا علي هذا واحد وهذه كلها all of this هذا أسميها مثلا فعل. زين بس أنا I'm going to use English أقول هذا verb وهنايا أخلي verb phrase. زين أجي إلى علي هذا علي noun وهنايا noun phrase. زين إلى بغداد إلى preposition هذا وبغداد noun phrase. هذا كلها أسميها prepositional phrase. إذا هسه add all of this هذه sentence. إذا هذه sentence has three phrases or three constituent. Here we start with verb phrase, noun phrase, prepositional phrase. خلينا نسوي PP يسمونه. And هذا constituents of what in Arabic. Then if I put it in English, I say Ali traveled to Baghdad. How is it going to be? Ali هذه and noun phrase هنايا أسميه okay. Travel هذا verb أو خلي يقول هنايا and here V وبعدين VP. What about here? هذا to preposition. This is what? هذا noun. And all of this all of this سميها PP. All of this from here to here هذا سميها sentence. This is the analysis. I mean, how we have analyzed the sentence within brackets, and then we have given them names. Had the constituent, we have given them names, and we have enclose them within brackets, square brackets. Okay, this is before I stop, because I think I have taken a long time. He says here, let me read to you this. He says, why study grammar? Here he says, very interesting point. Let me read it to you. It is not, of course, the aim of this type of analysis that we should be able to draw complicated looking diagrams in order to impress our friends. The aim is to make explicit via the diagram what we believe to be the structure of a grammatical sentences in the language. So here in Arabic, here we want to impress you that see how I make complicated diagrams. How it shows you the structure of the sentence in Arabic, and this is what, and this is the purpose behind. In order to put it in a pictorial form, شكل تصويري, pictorial form. It also enables us to describe clearly how English sentences are put together as combination of phrases that in turn are combination of words. Words, phrases which are in turn, they are what? Words. We can then look at similar description of sentences in other languages such as Gaelic, Japanese, or Spanish. Now, what is the point? At a very practical level, it may help us to understand why a Spanish learner of English produces phrases like the wine red, mu the red wine, instead of the red wine, using a structure organization of constituent that is possible in Spanish but not in English. Here in Arabic we started with VP, بينما in English we started with NP. So see the difference. In English, in Spanish, they when a Spanish speaker of English, he doesn't say the red wine, he says the wine red, because under the influence of what? Spanish. With this I stop, and this is the end of this chapter, and tomorrow we will continue, and then God willing next week we are going to start a new chapter. Perhaps tomorrow I'm going to start a new chapter. Thank you very much, and see you tomorrow, God willing. Thank you.